For the last 2 months, the complainant of sexual harassment in the TERI case has been sitting at home, not being able to do her work. When she spoke to NDTV amidst outrage among the public in general, that while the person who's accused, that RK Pachauri, was back at work in his office after an order from a Delhi court, she, however, was sitting at home because she had been relocated to another office which did not suit her job expertise. We'll be reading out her statement in just a bit. Also, the debate that we're looking at agenda today is that fair to sexual harassment complainants, that the person they complain against, that they come back to work? How does it affect things? So our guest today, the panel that we have, is Indira Jaising, writer of books on sexual harassment, one of the prominent lawyers in that, speaking up for how it affects corporate India. We have Ajay Dua, former Secretary, Ministry of Industry and Commerce. We also have people representing RK Pachauri. The main lawyers over here, Vikas Pava, Senior Counsel, and also Ashish Dixit. Now, what is most important, of course, that for the first time, we'll hear from employees of TERI themselves. We have with us over here Mr. Reddy. He has started a petition on change.org to have RK Pachauri removed from TERI. And also joining us in a short while on the phone line will be a woman who used to work in TERI till very recently, and this case has made her want to come out and talk about what was happening inside TERI. But first, if I can just read out what the complainant, who's not ready at the moment to come out and speak about it in court just in front of everyone just yet, but she is otherwise given us a statement which I'm going to just read out to you. She has said today, after RK Pachauri has joined back at work, she has said, beyond shattering and distasteful, that TERI has reinstated that DG who is having a criminal case of sexual harassment. She also says, even pending the internal inquiry, no action was taken. The accused himself announced that he was proceeding on leave. Governing Council should have directed further action than granting such a privilege. Some of the biggest names serve on the Governing Council. It is scary to take note of their silence and inaction. Let me just tell our viewers that the Governing Council has names like Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw and also Naina Lal Khidwai, other than Deepak Parekh. If I can start with you, Indira Jaising, you have written a letter to the Governing Council asking them to take some action so that RK Pachauri is removed. When you hear the complainant saying this, what comes to your mind?
Okay, so I'm very clear, and I've been clear from day one, that if there is any failure in this case, it is the failure of the managing board, the governing board of TERI, which, as you said, contains all these eminent names. Now, laws in the country applicable to every citizen are that if in an organization you are accused of a serious misconduct, note, I'm using the word misconduct, not offense, you are suspended. These are government rules, and people from government in this gathering will bear me out on this. And my question from day one to the eminent people you mentioned, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Naina Lal Khidwai, Deepak Parekh, is why was he not suspended on day one? Are there no service regulations in TERI? And it's very ironic that I know, Sunetra, that we are sitting right here.
That's right. It's
in the
point
premises.
That we're right next to the TERI offices.
Yes, you are. And it might interest you to know that this order, which permitted him to go and work out of the Defence Colony office, is utterly meaningless. On the first day of his arrival, he has set up a shuttle bus service between this office and the Defence Colony office. He has given instructions to his staff that all of you can come and visit me there. He's taken very major decisions like removing Mrs. Srivastava from the position of Vice Chancellor of TERI University, and very kindly appointed her as some kind of emeritus professor. So many serious decisions have been taken by him in these last few days from the time he's been allowed to report back.
And you think that's going to affect the case?
Severely.
Severely. Vikas Pava, you've heard Indira Jaising. Obviously, you've got, I know you're going to say that the court has allowed him to come back.
Absolutely.
But you have heard what our complainant has said. Yes. The question is not just this case as well, and what Indira Jaising, how would you respond to what Indira Jaising is saying?
I would say that Dr. Pachauri has been more than fair in this investigation right from day one. When the first complaint was made, when he apprehended arrest, he went to the court. He was granted bail. When the bail was being granted, the prosecutor was heard. We were heard. The lady was heard. Her counsel was heard. And then there were certain directions passed. Till date, not even a single direction has been violated by him. But not even a single direction. Just hear me out. For 4 months, he never visited any of the offices of TERI all over the country. There was a direction. When he filed an application in the court in May, the lawyer for the lady made a false statement in the court saying that please don't hear this application, hear it after the hearing in the High Court.
Has the court said it was a false statement?
No, we have said it because it proved to be false. They made a statement that we have applied for cancellation of bail in the High Court. Don't hear this application. And the application got adjourned. But later on we found that it is only after making that statement the application was filed. Anyway, coming back to now, when he wanted to visit the offices, he filed an application in the court, right? That application was heard at length. Everybody was heard, even the lady's counsel was heard at length. And a proper order has been passed. Where is the apprehension? Where is the apprehension that he will either tamper with the evidence? In which case in this country it has happened that when an accused is not allowed to go to his office.
If he could just finish, I would like to respond.
Yeah.
Sunetra, I'm afraid, notwithstanding that he's an eminent lawyer, how does he fail to... I never said a word about the criminal case. I did not say a word about the criminal court being right or wrong.
Okay.
My question is, there's a difference between civil law and criminal law. And I'm focusing my attention on the governing body, which has powers independent of the powers of the court.
Okay.
Ultimately, they take responsibility. If they suspend him, no power on earth can put him back to work. The failure is theirs.
They have the power.
Yes, they have the power.
Okay.
And it is their failure. So Mr. Power need not jump to defend either Mr. Pachauri or the courts. Or the courts. It is not his job to defend the courts. I'm not attacking the court.
Okay.
Yeah, my attack is squarely
so
on the corporate
Indra,
world.
I think perhaps it's at this point, I just want to point out that we have contacted the various governing council members. We've contacted Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, we've contacted the other ones as well. They didn't want to comment on it. And I think we've been following up this case. They didn't want to comment on that.
That's the failure, isn't it? There's the failure, right?
So I wanted to ask you, Ajay Dua, and we asked various industry bodies as well, CII and others, why is it that the company, perhaps TERI has a lot to answer for. If RK Pachauri is facing this criminal investigation as an individual, what about TERI as the organization and other corporate bodies, their responsibility to protect? Because as we heard in the last statement, the woman has said that she hasn't been allowed to do the work that she's meant to do. They have given her, they have not sacked her, but she's been asked to do some other work. She's the one who is suffering because she complained. So don't you think that something very wrong is happening in the workplace?
Let's just try and understand, rather than using the word understand, distinguish between corporate India and TERI. TERI is an NGO which has on its board of governors people who are connected with the corporate world. The chairman of the governing council still happens to be Dr. Pachauri. The other people are members of the governing council.
But as Dr. Desing said that they can suspend him.
No, bear with me. To take action, I hold no brief for either party.
Okay.
I'm just trying to explain how would this case be handled. It would be the governing council bases itself on certain findings. The findings, to my mind, would have been that of the inquiry committee, which is like a departmental inquiry, what we would have called in a government. The inquiry committee...
And the inquiry committee, actually the internal committee found him.
No,
indicted him.
That's right. The internal committee submitted its report.
Yeah, we'll see about this.
The internal committee submitted its report. The report, to my mind, would have been submitted to the acting director general. That's Leena Srivastava, who was holding the charge after Dr. Pachauri relinquished charge.
Okay.
She seems to have not taken a decision on the matter and instead pushed it up for the consideration of the governing council.
Okay.
At that point of time, can I just complete that bit? It was for the governing council to take action on it, but
and they failed to do that.
No, I just want to understand, maybe I can be enlightened on this. Was there a long gap between the submission of the report by the Internal Inquiry Committee and your
Okay.
your moving the court.